Should the New York Knicks trade for OG Anunoby? Bleacher Report at least thinks the Knicks will target him this NBA offseason. So in today's show, we'll talk about what a trade might look like for OG Anunoby. We actually have a trade idea from NBA Analysis. And we'll go through everything you need to know about OG Anunoby. You're watching Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. This is where the article and the rumors come from. Shout out to Eric Pincus of Bleacher Report. This is what the article looks like if you want to go and read it. This is what Pincus had to say about OG Anunoby. He said other big names suggested as potential Knicks target include Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma, and OG Anunoby. Generally speaking, the Knicks could be a suitor for the next star who demands a trade. I know this much. If the New York Knicks do make a trade for an NBA superstar this offseason, we are going live on the channel. So subscribe and turn your notifications on because we're going to be the first channel that keeps you up to date on everything surrounding the New York Knicks this offseason. We're your one-stop shop. Hit that sub button. Sub for Knicks Dubs. OG Anunoby. Should the Knicks trade for him? My first thought is OG is an interesting piece. No doubt about it. There is a lot that I like about OG Anunoby's game. But I do have some worries and questions if trading for OG Anunoby is a move that puts the Knicks over the top and makes them a true contender in the Eastern Conference. Well, first, let's look at the type of player that he is. In the last 4 seasons, he's been solid for the Toronto Raptors, and I think he's gotten better every single year, which is what you like to see in a younger player. This past year for Toronto, he played in 67 games, averaged 16.8 points per game, 5 rebounds, led the NBA in steals per game at 1.9 a night, and he was second in deflections this year with 3.6 deflections per game. So you are getting an elite perimeter defender and a disruptor and a havoc creator, and the guy can knock down threes at a great level, 38.7% from beyond the arc this past season. He's been somewhat consistent at that number, 36, 39, and 39 in the prior 3 seasons. I like OG Anunoby, but do you think the Knicks should trade for OG Anunoby? We got a trade idea coming up that we'll put on the table for you guys to decide. But let me know, do you think they should do it? Do you think they should just trade for OG Anunoby? This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So go down in the comment section and let me know, should the Knicks trade for OG Anunoby? Hit with that YouTube ad break, scroll on down, type T for trade, P for pass, and sound off. Some of my initial thoughts on OG Anunoby. He is an elite perimeter defender. He is a guy that will draw the task of guarding the opposing team's best perimeter offensive player. He can even play a little bit of small ball 4 and guard some scoring power forwards. He would take that duty away from Quentin Grimes if you are able to keep him in an OG trade. I think you could have a formidable wing duo defensive lineup with OG and Quentin Grimes. I also love that OG Anunoby shoots 40.6% from 3 on catch-and-shoot opportunities. In a New York Knicks offense, OG Anunoby as that strong side, one pass away option when either Jalen Brunson, R.J. Barrett, or Julius Randle cooks in the mid-range and gets downhill. He'll be that guy hanging out in the corner, and he converts on catch-and-shoots at 40.6%, which is one of the highest in the NBA. But you got to admit, he is not the final piece for the New York Knicks. Is it a good move? Yes. Does it make the Knicks better? Yes. Does it help them maybe get to the conference finals? Yes. But just trading for OG Anunoby does not make the Knicks an NBA Finals contender, and I don't think it makes them one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. I don't think it does. I think it makes them better. I think it makes them more competitive. I think it makes them more well-rounded, but it's not the final piece. If you trade for OG, you still have to have another move coming down the pipeline. I also like that he can play a little small ball 4. You could have Isaiah Hartenstein at the 5 or Mitchell Robinson at the 5, put OG at the 4. You could roll with Barrett or Hart at the 3, Grimes or Barrett at the 2, and Quickly and Brunson at the 1 or the 2. You could run a smaller lineup with OG Anunoby, and I believe that Tom Thibodeau would actually trust that lineup because Anunoby is such a good defender on the inside and on the outside. He has played in a lot of playoff games as well in his career. Let's take a look at the last 3 postseasons where he's played in almost, 10 games in 2018, 11 in 2020. So that's 21 games right there. 21 plus 6 is, 27 games? He's played in 27 playoff games in the last 3 years. And this past year in 2022, I guess that was last year, 2022 playoffs. He was great. 17 points per game, 47+% from the deck, and 34% from 3 in 6 games. But in 2020, when he played in 11 playoff games, he shot above 41% from 3. And then in 2018, when he played in 10 games, he shot over 44% from 3. So you're getting a great shooter. Great may be a strong word. You're getting a good shooter, no doubt about it. He's not a movement shooter. He's more of a catch-and-shoot guy. He's not coming off pin downs and curls, but he's a floor spacer, and he's a lockdown defender. He is. That's what he is. He's a lockdown defender. But I like OG. I don't love OG. And I guess my point saying that is it goes back to kind of what I said earlier. I like him. I would make the trade. I would trade for OG Anunoby, but it comes down to the price. And I know that if I trade for OG, that's not the final deal. And I think we all know good OG ain't cheap. So it's going to come down to the price. What are the Knicks going to be willing to trade for OG? Well, our buddies over at NBA Analysis luckily put out an article for us where they talked about what a trade could look like, and this is what they came up with. Evan Fournier, and not 1, not 2, but 3 future New York Knicks picks. They did not specify whether they are unprotected or protected. I'll tell you this much. If it's 3 unprotected, you can get out of here, Masai Ujiri. I ain't trading 3 unprotected picks for OG Anunoby. But let's go with 1 is unprotected and 2 are protected pretty heavily. Let's say top 10 are lottery protected. Would you make this trade? Would you trade OG to the Knicks, or would you accept an OG to the Knicks trade for Evan Fournier and 3 first-round picks? Let me know what you think. Type A for accept, type D for decline. Some of my initial thoughts when I look at this trade is, while you may not be giving up a lot of talent when it comes to players, and Evan Fournier, you're pretty much just matching the salary, and this is a player for pick trade. My problem with it is you're giving up 3 of your most valuable assets by your own first-round picks. And if you trade 3 first-round picks that are all your own, you are limited in what type of trades you can make down the road. Now, all the other trade chips that you have are now protected first-round picks, and those aren't as coveted across the NBA. So you're kind of sticking your boots into the sand right here saying, we think this trade is good enough to make us a contender, and you only make this trade if you do believe that, and I don't believe it does. Trading for OG is a good move, but trading 3 of your own first-round picks, which limits you in the type of trade packages you can offer for another person, which I said earlier, you need another person to go with OG. He's not the icing on the cake. I don't know if I'd make this trade. I don't like giving up 3 of my own first-round picks. If I give up 2 protected picks, maybe like the Washington pick or the Dallas pick and the Bucks pick, sure. But I don't like giving up all 3 of my own first-round picks. But I can't lie to you. A starting lineup that looks like Jalen Brunson, R.J. Barrett, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson would be one of the best starting 5s in the National Basketball Association and definitely in the Eastern Conference. You got your playmaker and your shot creator in Jalen Brunson. You got your weak side slasher, Young Buck and R.J. Barrett. You got your perimeter defender, OG Anunoby, that can catch and shoot some threes. You got Julius Randle. We know what he does and what he doesn't do, especially when the weather gets warmer outside. And Mitchell Robinson is a great rim protector and one of the best offensive rebounding bigs in the NBA. You'd still have Quickly off the bench. You'd still have Grimes. You'd still have Josh Hart. You'd still have Obi. And you'd still have Isaiah Hartenstein. You are a good team and you are a deep team, no doubt about it. But you are not a perfect team. And I still worry about the Knicks spacing and shot creation because OG is a spacer. He is a good shooter. We showed you 40.6% from 3 on catch-and-shoot opportunities. But I wouldn't mistake OG Anunoby for a shot creator, especially in the half court. And I worry if other teams implement the same type of defense that Eric Spoelstra implemented against the New York Knicks, where they would double Brunson, force the ball out of their hands, and then play 4 Knicks on 3 Miami Heat on defense, and the Knicks couldn't execute. Does OG really fix that problem? Sure, it offers more space, so a guy like Barrett or Randall coming off that initial pass, or Josh Hart for that matter, off that initial pass from Brunson, this court is a little bit more spread. But I think you need another ball handler. I think you need another creator, another ball handler, and a guy who can run the offense at the guard spot. I like OG. I don't love OG. Good OG ain't cheap. And I wouldn't do that trade, but I would try to counter with a different type of offer, see what Masai Ujiri is working with. Appreciate everybody. Thank you. Tuning in. New York Knicks Now. Videos every day. Hit me up on Twitter. Let's talk ball over there at @MarshallGreen_.